Lenten Lunchtime lesson with Father Andrew of the Society of the Divine Compassion. Holy Saturday, Easter Eve. God's way of helping. Thou hast promised to help me. Psalm 71, verse 2. As religious experience has been real and not just a superstition, it has been conscious of two things: divine beauty and supernatural help. Superstition is born of self-consciousness and is full of fears. But religious experience comes from the consciousness of God, and through the ages it witnesses to this, that God does help those who come to him for help, and that he is a supreme beauty to which the soul is being drawn. It is the experience of saints that, when they have tried to do his will entered into their will. When they tried to love as he loved, his love entered into their love. When they tried to witness to their faith in the midst of pain and difficulty, his faith entered into their faith. People may say, but Paul was not helped. He was beheaded. St. Lawrence was not helped. He was burnt on a gridiron. St. Joan of Arc, she was not helped. She was burned at the stake. But though the martyrs were not saved from the martyrdom or the saints from suffering, it is the testimony of the martyrs and saints that they have been helped, that God does keep his promise. That conviction of the psalmist has been the conviction of the saint. We are familiar with pictures of the Magi kneeling before the Holy Child with their spotless robes, and we love to sing the hymn, as with gladness men of old did the guiding star behold. But surely there was great travail in their journeying. And must they not have had inward fight for faith in the reality of the guidance which came from the star? What were their thoughts really when, after so long a journey, they came to a young mother and a little child and a carpenter as guardian? They themselves had a retinue and armed men in attendance. This little one, to whom they had been led, and who was so soon to be taken to Egypt, lest he should meet the death dealt out to every child of his age by the envious Herod, was unhelped by any intervention of outward power. We are told that they returned to their own country by another way. Not only was it another way geographically, but spiritually. The star of the Epiphany was leading them from outward material values to inward and spiritual experience. The great covenant that God himself gives us is the sacraments of the Church. They are the way in which God keeps his promise to help our souls. We can always be perfectly certain of his sacraments. We believe in them because we believe in God. We have done something terribly wrong. To whom shall we go? We can say to our divine Redeemer, thou hast promised to help me. Sinners who are penitent can join the saints in testifying that God does keep his promise. Again, in our prayer, he has promised to help us. And if in our prayer we really and completely put ourselves and our circumstances in his hands, we shall find that he is keeping his word, and we are helped supernaturally on our heavenward way. If we are trying to be like Christ, to walk in his footsteps, to return love for hate, we shall experience the truth of that promise. When we lift up the holy sacrifice to heaven, let us consider how anyone might have pitied our Lord as he bore our cross to Calvary. How anyone might have pitied him, and indeed we should pity him, as he hung upon the cross. And how a man standing there might have thought of him as the most unhelped person in the whole world. Yet Jesus on the cross was sustained by his Father. He was helped in his helplessness so that he might perfectly be our help in the difficulties of life. He, more than anyone, was helped by the Father because he was helpless for our sakes. He, the crucified, shines forth as the one who, in the direst need that any soul has ever known, was helped in his helplessness to pass through the darkness of death to the everlasting life and the everlasting love, which was before he came to share our experience, which was with him all the while, and to which he returned, taking with him our humanity.